My thighs are hanging up on that big seat, man. Not enough thigh gap for me, guys. Man, I had that sucker locked tight. If you got these pedals, these are my stock SE pedals, and you ride these with a pair of Vans, you're gonna hang up, homies. All right, dudes, what's up? What's up? So, there she is. 2021 Monster Quad. I just got a wheelie practice session in, and I wanted to give you guys, if there's any other OGs out there that want to basically fulfill the childhood dreams and learn that wheelie, finally learn that wheelie. I'm doing it. This is the year for me. I'm dedicated to be doing blocks by summertime, and I know I will, and I'm getting it. But I wanted to take this time to let some of you dudes know the tips that I have for this now, because as we're older, we get smarter. We really start to understand the tips and the tricks that maybe the younger guys and kids aren't thinking about because they're just not as smart as we are. Right? Wheelies in your 50s? Nah. 40s? Maybe. 60? Hell no, no way. But wait. I think we can. You know why? We're smarter now. And I think that our balance might even be better now if we take a little time and we figure it out. Now the kids learn because they're gnarly. But up here, there's a little less shut off to that's crazy old man. Don't do that, right? We have that switch. It's fully engaged. You know, probably in your 30s, you start to think, I can't do that. I'm crazy, man. You know, because everybody tells you, son, you better slow down. Well, I ain't about slowing down. I will be doing blocks on this thing by the end of summer. If you doubt me, watch. I'm not going to quit skateboarding, but I'll tell you what. Every day I have available to skate, torrential downpours, needing to clean the garage out, pull the truck in, because I darn sure don't want to beat up a hail again. Hail. I get a lot of that around the house, but it's the same thing, man. It's like hell, right? Hell, hail, whatever. Anyhow, my wheelie tips and tricks for guys 40, 50, and even 60? How about 30? Yeah, for anyone, even kids. Kids aren't going to think about these wheelie tips. And these are some of the best. And I'm going to tell you what, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of trick tips for wheelies, and nobody's going to tell you some of the tips I'm going to tell you for sure. First, let me run over what the other videos say, okay? Your back brake, you got to have preferably a hydraulic or a V-brake, you know, the old school, the kind of clamp, they grip the rim, you know, those brakes. Something that you can control with one or two fingers and that you can drag, because wheelies are a trick. Now, there are guys that can get on the bike and kind of balance them, and there's probably some dudes that are really good at it. But to really be good at real wheelies, you've got to use the brake. Now, I did them on this crotch rocket here, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour on the freeway, and I didn't use any brake. Yeah. And I'm living to tell about it, and I never dropped a wheelie. And I mean, I could run those things. A football field? Not great, but a football field I could get. I stood up on them. I bounced it, popped it up. I got it to balance point. I was pretty decent at it. But I never did it safe, and I'm lucky to probably even be alive to talk about it right now. Or seriously could have been very injured. Anyhow, they're going to tell you the brake, and the brake is the number one key to doing this. The other tips they'll tell you, and if you get into some of the more thought-out videos, they talk to you about keeping your arms in the locked-out position. You know, you bring your head back, and you use your leg, and you power through. You push that, and it's all in combination, right? As you pull back, put your head back and you push, the bike comes up, but you want to keep your arms out. Reason being, if your seat is lower, and I'm going to get to a reason why that may be harder for us 40, 50, 60-year-old guys. But if your seat is lower and your arms are out, the triangle to the front wheel opens up and you have a lower balance point. Meaning, if your arms are like this, you have the bike standing more upright, your arms are like this. But as you start to lengthen it out, the V gets longer, and then you don't have to have the bike as upright. My bike over here, the red rim, which you can see, it's got ape hangers on it. It has a coaster brake and no handbrake. The wheelies on that thing are super easy because the handlebars are extra long, and man, that thing gets laid out. I can lean back on it and I barely have to have the wheel off the ground, and it makes it doable for me. Still, there's reasons that bike makes it more dangerous other than the brake. So, we've been over the 2 tricks all the videos talk about. They talk about the brake, they talk about the leg, and the timing. They get into the timing. And you know what? I'm going to assume anybody watching this channel is an older guy and you understand the timing already. Same timing you get when you want to land both wheels flat going off a curb. You got to line that pedal up and push at the right time so that you bring your front wheel down at the same time as your back wheel. We understand that. So I'm not going to go into that on this video, but I'm going to go into other tips, okay? Where are we at next, Killy? Am I leaving anything out? Now, my first day on the bike, I went back to childhood. I got on this bike and I sat down because some of the videos I saw said, hey, you should be sitting down to learn this. And I don't disagree with those videos. But I couldn't pull this monster quad off the ground, like barely at all, maybe like an inch or two. And I'm like, am I going to have to go out and change gearing to learn this wheelie? No, I didn't have to. I had to get more guts. I had to push harder. And it really was a technique. Like, I had a job when I was a young kid throwing hay bales, like those 160 pounders, 180, 130, I don't remember, the heavy ones, and they were super heavy. Or I had another job moving sheetrock, and I could carry those full lengths of sheetrock bundled up 2 at a time by myself upstairs. But it wasn't without having the right technique that I could do that, because technique is everything. And I learned that on those wheelies, as I lean my head back, extend my arms out, push hard with my front foot, with my power leg. Since I'm a goofy foot, that ends up being my left foot. As I pull that up, I would call it pulling from the soul. The soul? The soul. Down deep, man. Where all that stuff that you're made of is collected when you really want to get aggro at something. So I did that, and I figured it out. And I started to what? I started to flip that bike, dude. And it's scary, To go back to my first wheelies, I was doing some long 10 pedals. Now I count 1, 2, 3. So they're half pedals. But I did a 10. Like almost the first day I rode this bike, standing up. Could have been really dangerous. I got lucky. Or I did what I practiced as a kid. And as a kid, I didn't realize possibly how dangerous that was. And I don't remember any really bad crashes doing wheelies like that as a kid. But you know what? They'll tell you sometimes, practice makes perfect. And that's not true. Scratch that. Perfect practice makes perfect. I could get pretty good at doing wheelies wrong like that, sure. But now I'm older and I'm smarter and I actually want to learn to do it the right way so that I can get blocks like the other dudes that are doing it at my age, right? I can learn this at 50, no problem. Be 51 like in 2 weeks. But anyhow, I'm going to get into my tricks and tips now too. The seat being low is easier and it's good. But for a skateboarder that's had some knee problems in your life, it gets really hard after a while using your knees when you're like compact like that. You want to be lengthened out like a mountain bike where you're almost getting full extension on that leg. It's easier to be lower because that balance point gets more mellow. I had to raise my seat up. Otherwise, my knees weren't going to let me do it anymore. But there's a couple tips I want to give you right now. One, first, what kind of seat are you using? because I used a mountain bike and I used this big bike here, I started to learn that seat mattered. Let me show you. So this bike has one of these big old cushion seats with the shock absorbers on it, super comfortable on your butt. But when you go to flip a wheelie, because you have a coaster brake, you don't have a handbrake, that's a gear up there. When you go to flip that wheelie, dude, and you try to bring your legs off the seat, you're gonna hang up on the side of that seat. And that totally happened to me. And I don't recommend it, man. I don't recommend that at all. On my mountain bike seat, it was slick, it was narrow, and I slid right off it. I could get my feet off my mountain bike without a problem in the world. So that was great. That was perfect. My SE bike, if you have an SE bike, guys, where's the seat? You know, this seat is made of fabric. So it's a little grippy. And I think they use that so that these kids that do all these combos, that's when you like jump from your feet to your knees and all over the seat, you probably want some grip. Well, I don't find that grip benefits me at all. Plus, the shape of the seat, a little different than my mountain bike, is a little bit wider here. Not quite like the bike on the wall at all, but a little wider. Mostly, it's the grip. So my mountain bike seat is smooth, and it's the easiest one to get off on. So I used that bike in the very beginning because I could play around with the balance point some. I could adjust the gear so that it was easier to pedal as a beginner, and I could get up to that balance point. I will tell you though, an SE bike is much easier to do wheelies on even than a mountain bike. Now maybe if I was riding a 29 mountain bike instead of a 26er, maybe I wouldn't say that. If I had a SE bike with a few gears on it, cream of the crop. I bet that's the best. But I don't have that. So anyway, seat shape. One thing they don't tell you about. You want to have a really fluid, narrow seat if you're an old guy and you want to hack the wheelie the safest way you can. Okay? Second, this is the second. The second tip you don't always hear is what kind of pants are you wearing? If you're wearing something baggy, that might be dangerous. If you're wearing something grippy, that might be dangerous. I'm wearing right now some mountain bike shorts. Let's show them to you. I got these from Urban. You may have seen them on Instagram. I like them. They have kind of a nylon reinforced butt area so that you can be sliding on and off the seat and not tear your shorts up real fast, right? And they're also slippery, so they slide off pretty easy. Not so much on the Monster Quad, but definitely on my other bikes, they slide off pretty good. So it's helpful. The first time I flipped this bike, I was wearing Dickies, and it was a disaster. I was wearing those old cell phone pants, Dickies from like the 90s, the baggy ones. And this is going to bring me to my third tip. How baggy are the pants you're wearing? And where are you on the seat? So on this bike, I got to wear my pants actually as I started to lean back at that flip over point to pull my feet off. I told you my thighs are hanging up on that big seat, man. Not enough thigh gap for me, guys. Man, I had that sucker locked tight. And as I'm trying to let go, not only that, the top of my pants, the crotch area, as the bike starts to stand up and I'm trying to get my feet back, the front of my pants actually hooked over the top of the seat. Now that's also happened here on the Monster Quad seat. Big time. And if you watch those kids doing these bike videos, you'll notice that they really tip these seats downward. If you see it compared to the frame, it's tipped down a lot. I probably need to do that more to make it more safe because it's still there. So what I do, I automatically, when I'm going in for a wheelie, as I start to push and as I start to prep to get ready to push, I slide back on the saddle so that I'm actually kind of more here. I'm kind of almost pushing the seat this way because I slid back. And I've had no sketchy loop outs since I've been doing that. And I also loop out a lot less. I'm not sure. So for me, having my weight behind the seat a little bit more is helping a lot. I think I'm even able to kind of lower myself a little bit, but keep my knees a little less bent. The first wheelie I fully did legit. Like, that's the first day I went out to practice. I looped out and I hurt myself pretty bad. And I wasn't wearing a helmet, which I still don't wear a helmet. I probably should. But I wasn't wearing a backpack either. And see that right there? Wait, where is it? Right there? That is a Element backpack. And I took the pillows off the couch and filled it, and it works great. I got on my daughter's Sunday bike there, the purple one, and I did a wheelie on that, like, I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago. And I hadn't flipped anything dangerously in a while. I've been getting better at it. And I sat on that bike and just gave it a little muscle. Boom! Straight onto my back. And it was like, honestly, dudes, landing on my bed. It was like that. It was not a hard fall at all. Okay, so the last tip that I really have at this point, I think there's two ways to go about it. If I'm riding faster, I have better control as I stand the bike up, as far as tipping from left to right. Versus if I take off going slower. If I take off going really slow, like I'm talking really slow, I'm going to recommend this. And this is what I really did for myself. I wanted to get the bike into that balance point really slowly, where I could not pedal. I could hit the brake and slam down. Hit the brake and slam down. I've done some where I've ridden faster, like riding with people, and I pull them up, but I'm not as gutsy to get into the balance point because I know that can jack me up pretty bad. If I'm going faster than I'm planning to run, you know, that's going to be a pretty gnar fall. So I don't want to do that. But in going slower, I think you give yourself that challenge of balance. You know, it's like just doing a handstand. You know, you just get it up there and you really get to work on the balance and the details of the trick, the pedaling and the brake, because that has to come natural. If you're trying to do that wheelie at speed, it's not going to come natural to you. It's that oh shit moment, you're not going to be ready to hit the brake. But now if you've done it a bunch, going really slow, even though it's harder to balance left and right, you're going to be prepared to do it. And that's what's proven true for me. Now that I'm going on rides, big group rides, ever since my family started riding our bikes, the 5 of us, as you can see, we got a grip of bikes in here. But as we've been starting to do it, we have another family now that's joined us, a husband and wife and 2 daughters. And now there's another family down the road. They're going to do it too. And I mean, we got another kid over here that joins us. And I mean, it won't be long and we're going to be in a group of 20 people mobbing this bike scene down here. And we do it every night after work. It's total fun. So in riding with the groups, I still want to get my practice. So I've started doing these balance point wheelies going a lot faster. And they're way easier. And I'm actually hitting the brake when it gets sketchy. I'm still scared. Sometimes my feet come off the pedals. I'm freaked out about it, but I haven't looped one out. I've never gone down to my feet. I have taken my feet off the pedals and I've saved it every time. Proof I'm getting it. So anyway, these are my tips for now. I just had my longest wheelie out here. I did 13 pedals. I think before, what was my record? 10 or 12, something like that. Was it 13? Did I do 13 in a previous video? Maybe I did. But the difference is I wasn't in balance point and I was just grunting it out before. Now I'm really in the balance point and I'm actually pedaling a lot slower because I'm not needing to pedal as fast. So even if they're about the same amount of pedals, they're way longer. Totally way longer. And I'm starting out really slow. So I'm making huge progress, and I wanted to give these tips to anybody out there that's listening because honestly, These are going to be the best wheelie tips on YouTube to date. Go slow. Start slow. Wear your backpack with your pillows, for sure. Wearing a helmet is a good idea. The time I looped out, I didn't hit my head. I didn't come close to my head. I think you land more on your lower back. But there's just no telling what happens. When it happened to me that day, my Vans hung up on my pedals. So be aware, if you've got, check it out, these are the pedals. These are the pedals. If you got these pedals, these are my stock SE pedals, and you ride these with a pair of Vans, you're gonna hang up, homies. Don't do that. That caused me a huge amount of problems. Huge amount of problems, man. Ruined my day. As I'm flipping back, the reason I fell, I couldn't get my feet off the pedals. Straight down, dude. Ugh. So wear that backpack just in case you pull a dough bar. That goes way back too. Be aware of your seat. If you really want to hack it, say you're trying to learn on something that has a bigger, comfortable seat for your old man fat ass, get a better seat if you want to learn a wheelie. Recommend that. Think about the pants you're wearing. Not too loose, not too grippy. You want something that allows you to slide off that seat and get out to safety. That's key. The angle of your seat. Angle that seat down low in the front. Push yourself back on the seat so that if you're wearing some baggier pants, because you're not going to get out there and want to do wheelies in jeans. I don't know, man. I've noticed some serious space problems. A few times I found it quite painful when I've looped out the wheelie. So think about the pants you're wearing. I recommend mountain bike shorts. Get you a pair of those. They're reinforced for all that slippage you're going to have. Otherwise, you're going to wear through whatever else you're wearing. But think about that. These are things that you got to think about. And the main deal is this. Go slow. Practice those wheelies to the balance point. And even before you do that, flip that bike over. Get good at flipping that bike over. Find out where you're going to hang up. I've had pant legs on baggy dickies cruising this bike around. As I flipped a wheelie or something, I've had it hang up on the end of the crank down by the bottom bracket. That's sketchy too. If you're going to wear pants on an SE bike, roll up that pant leg on the right so you don't end up getting hung up in the chain and sprocket. I'm sure we've all learned that one. And for the most part, don't be scared. Go slow. Get the balance point. Flip the bike over a whole bunch of times. Get onto your feet. That inspires so much confidence just to be able to flip it and land on your feet and get out. Because that's what I did. After I flipped that wheelie and landed on my back, it took me out for a month. First thing I did when I got back out there was flipping the bike intentionally. And that's when I realized my seat matters, the shape of my seat, the height of my seat. And you know, I got to find a happy medium between how bad the knees hurt and how low I can realistically use my seat, because I haven't been able to go as low as I want to. Don't forget, position yourself on the back part of the seat. Sliding back, for me, it has probably been one of the biggest benefits I've found, is getting my weight back on that seat some. And don't give up. Just do small practice sessions. Don't expect it to happen overnight. I did. I expected I was going to be a 3-time wheelie champ, and it's just not happening, you know. I don't do much. Every night we ride, every night I do 4 or 5 wheelie attempts, and that's about it. But every day, the next day, I'm better than I was the day before, even just a little bit. So remember that bamboo tree that grows in China. You plant the seed, you look after the seed, you take care of it for 5 years. For 5 years, you don't see any growth, no change, nothing pops up. On that 5th year, bing, it pops out of the soil. And in 1 year, that thing grows 90 feet. So remember, did that plant grow 90 feet in 1 year, or did it grow 90 feet in 6 years? So even though you didn't see anything happening, there was this elaborate root structure forming on the inside. Steel roots. You know what? And that happens to us too. Just getting out and riding our bike is giving us the skills, the muscle to be able to pull this kind of thing off. So get out there, ride your bike, have fun. Don't expect a lot, but try those wheelies. And if you're going to try, these tips. Get that backpack on just in case. All right, guys, spinning is winning. So get out there and ride your bike. Check this out. That's some sweet lighting, dude. That's my porch light.